Running a 6-minute mile. Here we go. Alright, so running a 6-minute mile. So in this video, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to do a video about running a 6-minute mile, but from the point of why we would run a 6-minute mile, who would want to do this, the mindset behind running a 6-minute mile, so you understand what's involved, and then we're going to do some question and answer, so we can answer some of the common questions that come up around being able to run a 6-minute mile, the competitiveness of it, the fitness of it, all those different aspects. So stay with me because this is going to be a really interesting audio / video. And welcome to this running channel. This is Running Faster with Less Effort. My name is Dave, and let's go ahead and start with the why behind running the 6-minute mile. And, you know, I think the reason there's like a certain type of person that wants to run a 6-minute mile because it's definitely a challenging goal, and it's really like it's tremendously difficult. So there's a lot of things wrapped up in there, and there's really a certain type of person that really wants to run a 6-minute mile. And there's a lot of people that just don't care. They're like, hey, I don't ever want to run a 6-minute mile. I have no desire to do that. And that's okay. You know, either way, whatever your goals are in running, they're okay. Maybe you just want fitness. Maybe you want social interaction. It's all good. But for those of us who want to run a 6-minute mile or less, there's a lot of why behind that. You need a really strong why, because when you get to the halfway to 3/4 mile point, that's when it's your brain is just feeding you all kinds of like terror signals, I call them. You know, your brain is just like all the bells and whistles are going off telling you to stop, right? And you got to have like a tremendous why, first of all, built in so that you will keep going. And then you also have to have a decent amount of training. So if you've never run a 6-minute mile before and that's what you're working toward, it's a great goal and it's a great sense of personal achievement. I can tell you for myself, there's just, it's like a benchmark for me. It's a fitness benchmark that tells me exactly where I'm at in my fitness and my running and my cardiovascular health. It's not really a representation of like any type of like lifting, although it does require good muscle, leg, hip strength, but it's more of a cardiovascular goal. But just knowing that my heart rate is good, that I can keep up to that and do that, you know, there's a physical fitness benchmark, but there's also the side that's more mental. And that's the side I think that knocks a lot of people out of running that 6-minute mile. So for me, it's like the perfect benchmark of where I'm at in my running. If I can run a 6-minute mile and I'm fairly relaxed or fairly comfortable, that's a great thing. Like I feel good about myself. And, you know, we all are designed to grow. You know, we have that growth mindset built into us, really. And I feel like a lot of times in life, we forget about that growth mindset. And my running reminds me of that growth mindset every day. It reminds me that I cannot be complacent. It reminds me that I do have to get out there and earn it every day. And that's my drive and my motivation. That's my why. No, and the other thing is this is what I focus on a lot. And I think this is important to share. And that is that when I start my day and I get out there, like today, I'm going to share my mile here in a minute with you. But like when I know I get out there and I give it my all and I get a great time, I count that as a daily win. And that lets me know that I'm ready for whatever is going to take place in my day. I just feel like I'm that much more ready and capable. You know, so every day when I get out there and I'm doing my running and I'm, you know, and it doesn't matter what kind of run it is. If I'm doing a threshold run, if I'm doing interval work, if I'm doing, you know, just my magic mile, as I call it, each of those things has kind of a different goal to it. And I know as long as I tried my best, did my best, tried to hit the mark as accurately as I could for that run, then I know that I'm ready for my day. And I need that every day. I need to get after dealing with alcoholism and depression in my life, I know that my running is crucial to my mental health. Mental health is so important for me. And to keep all of the thoughts away that, the negative thinking and the repetitive thinking and the obsessive thinking, just the things that come up in all of our normal, natural daily lives. It's like I have to have that running. I have to have the blood flow, the body open up, cardiovascular, lungs. The blood has to move from the top of my head all the way down to the bottom of my feet and be very circulated. And if I do that every day, it's important. And it's crucial, and I feel better. So I don't skip because I want to feel better every day. I want to grow every day. And that's, for me, my why. And that's what I hear from a lot of other people, too. Some people just like the personal achievement of running a 6-minute mile. It's like a personal benchmark. That's cool, too. That's all good in the world of running. Whatever makes you want to run. If it's friends, if it's social connection, if it's just health and fitness, if it's because you feel better, like me, mental health, keeping things like depression and that kind of thinking away, that's crucial. It's all good, whatever your goal is. And I encourage you to just keep on going, because running is something that feeds me every single day. It feeds me every single day, and I never miss it. And I just love doing it every day. It's, in the beginning it was hard until I got into it. So if you're just starting out in running, it's hard in the beginning. But once it kind of gets into you and you really develop that habit, you'll be able to take time off and you'll want to come back to it. And to be able to want to do something that's difficult, like running, is so important. And that's what it is for me. That's the importance of it. That's my why behind running a 6-minute mile. So real quick, just to share my story from today, every Friday, just so you know, every Friday I do what I call my magic mile. And that's where I go flat out, full effort, 100%, sometimes even a little over 100%, just depending on where I'm at. And I always tell people exercise caution with this. If, based on your personal fitness level and your personal deal, whatever you're dealing with in your life. But I like to run myself up to 100% just for 1 mile a week, just to kind of see where I'm at. So about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I can't remember the day exactly, but 2 to 3 weeks ago, I ran a mile in 5 minutes and 57 seconds. Now that was the best mile that I have run personally in probably well over 2 years. I just haven't gotten down that close. I had some 6:15, 6:20s, but there's a huge difference between 6:15, 6:20 and then going sub 6. So today, this is the really interesting mindset part. This is the part that I always have to figure out about myself, is today I didn't really have a specific intention to beat that 5:57 mile and do something faster than that. But when I got down there and I got onto the beach, and the beach was looking good, the air was a little cooler, the clouds were out, so I had less sun to deal with, so it wasn't roasting me right from the start. And I had a really good warm-up mile at a 7:30 pace. My heart rate was still very low for me. It was under 140. And I just thought this is the day. I just felt it, you could just feel it. I'm this is the day. And I didn't even consciously think about it, but in the back of my mind, I knew this could be it. So when I set out on the goal, the interesting part is that I thought in my head 5:55, right? 5:55, 5 minutes, 55 seconds for this mile, because that would beat my 5 minutes and 57 seconds. And what I did is I ran that mile, and I started off in the first quarter mile. I felt really good, and I was actually around a 5:40 pace. And I wanted to just hold that. I didn't want to put any more effort in. I just wanted to hold that pace. I wanted to keep myself relaxed, try to keep my stride as long as it could be without reaching too far out the front, and just really just getting into a comfortable position, because I knew what the last, minute and a half of that mile were going to be. They were going to be difficult and tough. And it's right where I want to give up. So I'm running and I'm running and I'm running, and I get down and I'm like, I look at my watch, and right before I finish, it goes off and it's 5:53. So I think to myself, why did I shortchange myself? See, we do this so much in life. We shortchange ourselves by thinking, right? It's a certain belief system that we have. We do that to ourselves because we're thinking, I can only do this. We have all these predetermined things about what we can and can't do based on past experiences and whatever we've done before, or how we feel. Oh, I don't feel into it today. And I have to say that every good running record that I have accumulated has been different than the predetermined thought I had. Like I thought I could do well, but then I wound up doing even better. And I keep asking myself this question. And I think it's important that we all ask ourselves this question: is why do I keep shortchanging myself? I'm built for power. I'm built for speed. I'm built, with unlimited possibility. And, and when I say unlimited possibility, obviously you can't run a mile in 1 minute, but you can go so much faster than you think. You can do so much more than you think. You can go so much farther than you think if you're a distance runner, and we always shortchange ourselves. So what I have to constantly tell myself is go for more, because it's available to you. The universe is going to give you what you ask for. So if you ask for like me asking for a 5:55 mile, that's what you're going to get. What if I asked myself for a 5 minute and 30 second mile? I probably would have got 5:42 or 5:45. Now, again, a lot of it based on training, conditioning, what I've been doing over the past couple weeks, how I slept last night, what my warm-up mile was. I also did 6 Murph sets, so 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, and 15 squats right before I did that run. Now, if I had done 8 sets, maybe it would have been a little bit slower because I would have been more tired. So there's a lot of different things that factor in. But what I'm telling, the part that I'm asking you to do is, ask the most of yourself, be true to yourself, and you would be amazed at what you can do, the human potential that you have inside you. Don't discount that. It is so good and so true. And I just want you to really get that 10x human potential that you have inside you. You're capable of great things. We all are capable of great things, and we need to embrace that. So with that, we're going to look at some questions and answers here, some commonly asked questions about running a 6-minute mile. So here's one question: is what if I can't run a 6-minute mile yet? And you know what? That's perfectly okay. That's fine. You're working towards something. It could take you a year. If you're just starting out, well, actually, it could take years if you're just starting out. It depends on it. There's a lot of different factors involved with that. There's just your own personal physical structure, obviously, is going to factor into that. The amount of training you can do, how many days per week. And, the basis, I think, to start the process is to just, what is your best mile right now? What is the best, if we were to go out on a 1/4 mile track and just run, what could you do in 1 mile without, hurting yourself or killing yourself or injuring yourself? What would be the best you could do to get out there? And then make that your mark and write it down with pen and paper, and then just be like, hey, this is my starting point right here, and try to shave 5, 10, 15 seconds off of it. I remember I did this for a week way back. First couple years I was running, I would just do 1 mile. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to do 1 mile, see how fast I can do it, without hurting myself, but just as quick as I possibly can. And I remember I was coming up with times that were like 7:14. And at that time, that was incredibly fast for me. Like I couldn't believe that I ran a 7 minute and 14-second mile. So again, going back to like what we're capable of, we surprise ourselves all the time with what we can do. But that's why I like the magic miles, because if you do this once a week, you're going to get faster at that mile time. And I love that. For me personally, I love that. And I encourage others to do it as well. It's just a good benchmark. But yeah, gradual progression. Just keep trying to keep shaving a little bit more off of that mile as you go. Next question is, how do I stay motivated when the progress is slow? So again, staying motivated is definitely about your why. Why are you doing this? That's literally personal choices. For some of us, it's just a personal achievement. You just want to achieve that. For me, it's partially the way I feel and how I deal with my mind. I know that in order to train my mind to do more difficult things and take on bigger challenges, I have to be able to control it. And when I'm running those fast miles or doing a fast race, that is where my mind wants to like bail out and just go off and do its own thing or quit or stop. So for me, it's like a tuning of my mind. I have to, if I'm going to be ready for anything and I want to live a successful life and I want to live a life of happiness and fulfillment, I know that I have to get out there and do something that's really going to make me discipline my mind. And that's so important for me to do that. So, staying motivated when the progress is slow is really just about staying in the fight week after week. Even if you drop and you get a little bit slower at your mile, that's okay. You can still, you just keep staying in there and you keep trying to do a little bit more. And if you just keep that why in mind, why you're doing it, it will drive you forward and you will eventually condition yourself for it. So much of running is just simply about conditioning. We're like, whatever type of running we're good at, there's another part of running that we're not so good at. Like, so for me, I'm not good at like the long endurance runs. I tried 100-miler. I only made 62 miles. I just couldn't stay in there. It just wasn't my thing. It didn't hold that much appeal for me. So therefore, I'm weak at it because I'm not conditioned for it. And that's what a lot of running is about. So, and another great way is if you're not very motivated, to find a training partner or, training with other people who've got a like-minded goal who can keep you in there. Just to have that social connection, that's huge in staying motivated when the progress is slow. All right, next question. What if I feel like giving up during training? Well, you should feel like giving up while you're training, because that lets you know that you're training yourself to a higher capacity. So that's how you know that you're pushing yourself. You're reaching new limits, right? And you just want to reflect on look at how far you've progressed in the past and just keep taking your goals and breaking them down into smaller goals. Like if you're totally struggling to run a mile as fast as you want to run it, break it up into quarters and just try and see if you can stay in there for a quarter. And if you can't stay in there for a quarter, try 1 minute, 1 full minute of running and give yourself a 2-minute rest in between. This is the whole point of interval training and speed work is to condition us for the difficult parts. So if you can run a mile or if you can run 1 minute full out, that conditions you, but you might not be able to do 2 minutes at that pace. So then you're going to have to go to 1:30 and then go to 2 minutes, but it's a conditioning process. So if you feel like giving up during training, you're on the right track. There's no doubt about it. Like you're pushing yourself. That's what that means. Like you should want to give up in the training. If you don't feel like giving up, you're probably not demanding enough of yourself. And, take that with a grain of salt or whatever kind of training you're doing or whatever your running goal is. But like for me personally, that's the way I look at it. If it's like, if every day is just easy, then am I really pushing myself? Am I really doing anything new and reaching new limits? And the answer for me is no, I'm not. So important. Next question is, how important is rest and recovery in achieving my goal? Oh, right. Like rest and recover. If I don't get a good night's sleep, I just don't feel good. I can't do it mentally. Like physically, I'm okay. I can push my body, but the mind, without rest and recovery, the mind will want to give up. Now, I notice with myself personally, I notice the mental side of it first. Like that's the first part. But the physical part is it doesn't get as noticed, and that's when we can fall prey to injury. So that is like super huge that we recognize that fact. Sometimes the body, it takes a couple days to see changes in the body. So that's very important to remember. With that, rest and recovery is absolutely crucial. You definitely want to have a good rest and recovery. And I always tell people a lot of times, if you're doing this, right, if you try doing this mile every week and you're down around the 6s or even lower than that, or even if you're in the 7s, if it, whatever, if it's 100% effort for you, whatever number that is, and it burns you out and it makes you feel drained, then just take a couple days off from it, or do walking, or do some other type of cross training. But like, if you feel bad, just take days off. It's okay. Because what'll happen is you'll rejuvenate and you'll recover and you'll get the rest, and then you'll come back and you'll be able to go stronger, and you'll fall less prey to injury, which is super important. So that's super important as far as rest and recovery. It's absolutely essential. And then the last question is, what should I do if I hit a plateau? Well, I've hit many, many plateaus in my life, and I'll tell you, I'm kind of always at a plateau in a way. I'm always kind of hitting a plateau, so it's very common. It's nothing to feel bad about, nothing to feel any type of like bad feelings about yourself. I mean, we hit plateaus. Again, it's kind of a sign that that you have a new level to reach. That's the way I look at a plateau. But sometimes you have to mix up the training. Sometimes you have to do a little bit more strength training, lifting, weightlifting, pull-ups, push-ups, squats, lunge walking. Lunge walking is great for your legs. I love lunge walking. That's really powerful. Doing tempo runs, having a varietized diet. I always talk about I need a varietized diet in running, because I just do not like just a set run, set schedule. Like sometimes I want to wake up in the morning and just change what I'm doing. Like for me, that's the beauty of running and the freedom of running, is like I don't have to do one specific thing. I hate when I have to follow a training plan, for the next 4 months, and I just have to do these runs, because if I just feel like doing something faster or doing something slower or something longer, I want to have the freedom to do that. That's the freedom that I get in running, and that's a part of my practice and comes back to my why. Is like I'm doing this for me and for enjoyment first, and then like achievement kind of comes second. So that's important to remember. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and close this down, because we're getting close to the end here. I want to encourage everybody that hears this to comment below about anything that I've talked about in here. Where are you struggling? Where do you see improvements? What solutions have you found? All of that stuff is so important for anybody else who sees it. They come and they watch this video and they look at the comments below and they see something else that you did that's powerful. So please share that stuff in the comments below. I encourage that greatly. And get out there and give yourself the best, because running, if you're a runner and you got my mindset, like for me, running is my favorite exercise, and it just helps me to embrace life and to just keep, not only keep myself physically healthy, but keep myself mentally healthy. So get out there, have a great day, have a great running day, give your all, and you won't be disappointed. So I'll see you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.